In Snow White and the Huntsman ordered to take Snow White into the woods to be killed ends up becoming her protector and mentor in a quest to vanquish the evil queen.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is fairest of them all?
You are the fairest, but there is another destined to surpass you.
What does she want from me?
Consume her heart, and you shall rule forever.
When I first heard about Snow White and the Huntsman, I thought, okay, so they're gonna make Snow White into an epic Lord of the Ringsy type of movie. And then I saw, the first teaser trailer or whatever, and I felt the same way. But the more that I saw of the movie and the closer it got to release, the more excited I got because I thought it actually looked really cool. There were some really cool visual things in the trailer. Everything with Charlize Theron looked awesome. And so I was actually really looking forward to the movie. Unfortunately, I was disappointed. I did not dislike the movie so much as I was just let down because I was expecting it to be considerably better, and the first act of the movie is fantastic, but then it goes to kind of nowhere from there, unfortunately, and the pacing is really bad, like really bad, and the acting is not bad, it's good, but it's a little bit wooden. And aside from Charlize Theron, but I will get into that in a moment, by the way. I just want to make sure that's clear. Aside from her, everything about Charlize Theron was awesome, but I will get into that in just a minute. Overall, I would say the easiest way I can describe the movie is it felt like a lot of ideas just kind of strung together. Like they didn't really know how to get from idea to idea to idea. Like they were like, oh, this scene could be cool, this could be cool. How do we get from here to here? And it just felt very disjointed, and the pacing was bad, like I said. So overall, I was disappointed. Plot-wise, I thought that it was good, once again, until it got dull. So the first act was great in terms of story, and overall, the story was good. It's Snow White, but they shook it up a little bit. But it just, the story kind of just disappeared for a little while, and it became very repetitive and redundant. Actually, for a while, it became something crazy happens, walk, 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 walk. Something crazy happens, walk, walk, walk. And it not even just something crazy happens. The redundant part of it is that, they get caught, they fight them off, walk, walk, walk. They get caught, fight them off, and it just happened over and over again. Also, there were scenes in the movie that I still don't really know what the purpose was exactly, and I refuse to let go the troll scene. I can only assume it was so they could put it in the trailer and get more people to the theater. I don't really know what the purpose of that scene was. I'm sure that there is a purpose to it, and I can tell you that the purpose was probably just to show that Snow White was able to deal with it. But why that? Was that really necessary, that big troll? A little silly. Also, the character development was just non-existent for a lot of these characters. You have the Huntsman and Snow White just didn't really go together. Then you've got the dwarves, which are introduced so late in the game that you really don't care that much about them. And, the only character, once again, that was great was Charlize Theron's character, the Queen. Was fantastic. Literally, I'm not kidding, everything about that character, everything about it was great. I don't know what the heck happened with the rest of it. That leads me into directing, and that continues the thought process of everything about Charlize Theron's character was great. The visuals around that character, everything was awesome. And then the rest of the movie was kind of just like a Lord of the Rings, like the boring parts of Lord of the Rings more than anything. And it was dull and, like I said, kind of wooden. And it didn't feel like there was much of a soul to the movie. I wasn't invested really. I didn't really care what was going on. And maybe that's because I knew what was going to happen because it's Snow White. And the Queen doesn't win, obviously. Hopefully that's not a spoiler. I'm sure everybody knows that. But it just, I just thought that it was a little bit bland, aside from, I just need to stress, Charlize Theron's parts. And acting-wise, I might as well start off with her because I keep talking about her. Charlize Theron blew it out of the park. She was incredible in this movie, I thought. Her acting was great. Everything about her character was great. Everything about the visuals around her character was great. I absolutely loved the idea that, the mirror, her relationship with the mirror. I won't, explain it, I guess, but I loved that. I thought that her intensity she was very fierce in this movie, and it didn't feel forced. That's something that I didn't mention. The movie felt forced. That's why it felt wooden and kind of soulless. She did not feel forced. She felt very natural, and it felt like she legitimately was living in this movie. Unfortunately, the same can't be said about the rest of the cast, which, like I said, wasn't bad, but Kristen Stewart and Chris Hemsworth were just not up to par. And maybe it's because Charlize was so good that everybody else couldn't even come up to her level, and had she not been as good, everybody else would have looked better, but she overshadowed everybody in the movie as far as I'm concerned. And it's in the writing as well, the fact that I didn't think that there was much chemistry between Kristen Stewart and Chris Hemsworth. That's maybe particularly due to the writing, not so much them. I didn't think they were bad. I want to make sure that's clear. I thought they were fine. Their accents were a little bit choppy here and there. Chris Hemsworth was a little weird. Sometimes it was strong and sometimes it wasn't. It was always there, but it was kind of fluctuating a little bit weird. And the dwarves were fine, I guess, but once again, I kind of just didn't really care about them much. But I specifically would like to point out also the brother to the queen was hilarious. And, obviously it wasn't supposed to be, but I just couldn't help laughing at the hair color, the haircut combo. Just everything about that character was really hilarious. And, obviously I can look past that. I'm just kidding around. It didn't, ruin the movie for me or anything like that. That's not what ruined the movie for me. But I wanted to mention that specifically. My sister and I were cracking up watching him. But overall, unfortunately, I was let down by this movie. Maybe I was expecting too much. I didn't really, get involved or invested, I should say, with any of the characters because I don't think there was much development of them and there was no chemistry or not enough chemistry for me to care. Also, I thought that it was, the pacing was bad. Like I said, it was very disjointed. But I have to say, Charlize Theron was so good. Everything about her character was so good that it really brings it up big time for me, enough to say that, I enjoyed her parts. So I didn't hate it or anything. But unfortunately, she's not in it enough, and it does get a little dull through the middle of it. But let me know what you thought of this movie. I'm very curious, because I think this one might be all over the place, or maybe not, in terms of reactions from people. Let me know what you were expecting going in. Were you looking forward to it? Were you kind of on it? I was looking forward to it, like I said. What did you think of the pacing? Did you think, like me, that it kind of got dull, and it felt like they were just going scene to scene, or idea to idea, and it was just like, how do we tie them together? And, of course, let me know what you thought of the acting. Specifically, do you agree or disagree that Charlize Theron was amazing? Let me know anything that you want about Snow White and the Huntsman, and that's pretty much it.
Lips red as blood, hair black as night. Bring me your heart, my dear, dear Snow White. Let them come.